So this was the demo of the shortcut we'll be creating today. As you saw, the shortcut is meant to help you to save articles or YouTube videos to Notion, scraping some data from the article or YouTube video, such as author, publish date, tags. Tags you need to specify yourself, and URL. The cool thing about tags you will learn today is that they will be created automatically if they still do not exist in Notion, but you specify them in the prompt. So it's pretty cool. It's some universality to the shortcut. And yeah, some people ask me to explain how do you add URLs through API to Notion. This tutorial is exactly on that, and even has some techniques involving creating new tags and multi-select properties. So stay tuned and let's get started. Let's create a new shortcut. The first action I'm gonna use is getting value from my data jar application. Again, I remind you, this is a really nice application to store your, for example, API keys for any service you're frequently using with Siri Shortcuts. Whether it's Notion, OpenAI, ChatGPT key, you can just get this action, call like the key for this value. The value is the API key itself, and it can be automatically used as a variable throughout your shortcut. So I'm gonna set a variable for better readability, for better usability of this value. I'll call it Notion key. And next thing, we need also a database ID. So these are all the things the shortcut will need. All input variables the shortcut will need to work properly. This is next thing, we need database ID, and the database ID is this very database ID where you store all of these saved things. And again, I just want to show you what properties you need to have in database. You have for the shortcut to put information in, you need author, which is just a rich text property. As you see from the icon here, this only contains author name, create time, it's filled in automatically. Publish date, this is a publish date property, which is a date property. I still don't know if it's better to be a date property or rich text, simply rich text property, because we won't really reference this data in the future. I used date type property here. Next is related. Related is also completely optional for you. If you want to have ability to relate articles to other articles or to YouTube videos, you can use this. But just so you know, this won't be used by the shortcut. Tags, you need to create a multi-select property called tags or any other name if you know, but at some point in shortcut you will need to put other names from the names I put in, and URL, of course. This is just URL itself. As you see here, it's URL property. You of course need to add also this, and that's basically it. Then you can start accumulating some articles for future reference. Let's get back to the shortcut. Oh yeah, and we need to get this database ID. Just go to actions and copy link. Let's go back to the shortcut, and what I will do is I will just cut off the parts not that do not go to database ID. There we are. I'll just again set variable for database ID, just like that. Now we will begin working with the API. So the first request we'll send to the database ID. The first request purpose is to get information about properties, but we only need the information about the multi-select tags property. We need to specifically know which options there are created, to know which ones we still need to create. So you need to get contents of URL action. I just clear it, and the request URL is https://bi.notion.com/b1-databases/ and the database ID itself. Okay, so unfold this. Now we need to pick a method. Method is get by default. Add two headers. The first one is, of course, authorization. Put in bearer and Notion key. Now going to second header, it's a Notion version. The Notion version is 2022-06-28. I won't go deeper on what this request sends back, but it really just gives information about each property, including the options that are created, that already exist in a multi-select property. So we will try to iterate over each item in contents of URL, but not just contents of URL. We need to adjust some things here. The first one will be type. You need to change type to being dictionary. And now let's go back, because it has some bugs to it when the changes won't be saved. Go to get value for key, and there you need to write down the path to these options. So it's properties tags dot multi-select dot options, like that. And now we'll repeat with each, but this will give us like a dictionary with all these options. We need to just also go deeper and get only the name for the option. I'm going to use add to variable action to add all these names, accumulate all these names in the variable. The variable will be tags, and the input will be, an input will be repeat item, but we also need to go inside this variable, change type to dictionary, because it will be a dictionary. As I told you, it will be a dictionary with like ID of the option. Each option in Notion has its own unique ID, color information. It's not needed for our shortcut. We just need the name. So this is dictionary, and the value will be name. Specify this value here, and there we go. So the shortcut will iterate over each option and add the name to tags. And as a result, this tags variable will contain every existing option. So we will know which ones we need to create. Okay, so now let's ask the user for the tags he wants to associate with the saved article. So we'd ask for input, save tags, and how the shortcut will work is the user should specify text separated by spaces, and you should also know this so the shortcut won't process these tags incorrectly. Do not put them like in new lines, etc. So now, as we know that tags should be separated by spaces, if the user did all correctly, we need to split them by spaces. So we have each individual tag to work on, and we will repeat with each item in this split text and do some logic in here. If we're putting if conditional statement, if not repeat item, if this variable tags, which contains all existing tags inside, if this variable, and you see here has any value, does not have any value, and we don't have like contains, begin with, options, etc. So we need to just do this. Yeah, it's a bit weird that we need to select again the already selected item, but this is how it works in Shortcut right now. Maybe it's a little bug. This is how we do it. And now we have all these options. We have contains, does not contain, begins with, end with, has any value, does not have value, is, or is not. We need specifically does not contain. So if this tags variable, it contains all these options. If it does not contain the repeat item, that means that the item still is not in the database. There is no such option, so we need to create it. We will add some JSON formatting to this option to put in a future request for creating a new option. It is going like that. It's a default key value pair enclosed in curly brackets. That's just a dictionary. We are sending a new dictionary with a new option. So it's name, key is name, and the value is this very repeat item. We will now add to variable. We will add this text to variable tags request. Otherwise, we will essentially do the same. So it's here and it's below. Text like that. We're adding to, but there's a little difference because we are adding nothing in this second part, in otherwise part, and this way we are preventing it from generating an output, because what we will do afterwards is we will combine the repeat results. We will combine the options that need to be created, not the options that exist. We are also adding them to tags request because we still need to send them in the request to like create a new page, to just a simple request to save this article. But also we're getting these to create new options. They still do not exist. So let's go and add a new action called combine repeat results. Combine repeat results with custom, and then we use commas. So we'll have like multiple dictionaries combined with commas. And next we will use a bit of JSON formatting. Let me get this thing. Okay, so it's here now. I'll try to put these JSON snippets in the description. So multi-select, and this is array, so we have multiple dictionaries combined with commas, and now we are putting them inside this multi-select array. This is generally the entire request JSON. It only contains information about what options we need to create in the multi-select property. So this is not multi-select though. We might have some issues with, because this property we have in the database called tags, not multi-select. We should keep in mind, so keep in mind that, so you won't have some like issues that you will waste your time solving. And this is a really simple fix. Just always look at the names of each property and how you specify them in Shortcuts and how you specify them in Notion. So now we're going to send the request to Notion. We're using again the contents of URL action. This won't be here. It will be another place. So get contents of URL. This will be HTTPS. It's gonna be generally the same, so we will just copy it from here. Just copy it, and I will paste it right there. The method, however, is not yet, because we added stuff. We are sending requests to, so the stuff will be edited. If it's something about editing, it's patch request method. And now we put some headers, so I'll put 3. Authorization, bearer, and its Notion key. As you see, it's really easy now to get all these variables, because it otherwise would be slower, because we needed to go all the way and select the variable. And now it's just everything in this top bar here. It's on the iPad and on the Mac as well, so if you're doing this on iPad or Mac, it's especially beneficial and time saving. Let's add another header. It's 2022-06-28 again, and content type, it's application, because we're sending JSON. It's application / JSON. Request body is file, because we are sending this variable. And JSON request body doesn't allow for like multiple items to be added. Array of items. I'll just select it. So I always, if I want to be 100% sure, I select the correct variable, the appropriate variable. I just use, instead of picking it from this quick view, as you see here, from picking it from this quick view, I just hit select variable and choose it manually. I have some peace of mind right here. So right after that, that's basically all about creating new multi-select options. Now the next thing we're gonna do is we will understand whether or not the shortcut input new URL we want to add is YouTube video or not. And in this, the regular expressions will help us. Have this regular expression that checks, identifies YouTube video URL in the shortcut input. So we should put match action and use the this regular expression and use shortcut input here, because we will, every time we run this shortcut, we'll run it from share sheet. Of course, it's the fastest way. If there is no input or get clipboard or something, or you can specify stop and respawn that there is no shortcut input from share sheet, etc. I'll just use get clipboard. And also let's specify here that we need URLs like that. I think we can also add articles here, URLs and articles like that. And we'll add if. Oh, so if matches has any value, so that means we will have like output. The output of this action will be this YouTube video URL itself. But if it's not a YouTube video URL, there won't be output. So based on that, we'll add some logic. So if matches has any value, in other words, if it is really a YouTube video URL, we will use this we will use a really useful URL, YouTube video metadata scraper URL, I'll call it. So this, by sending get request to this URL and specifying the URL here, we will get some useful information for us to put in, for us to save with the YouTube video URL alongside. This is information, such information as set variable. Okay, so the first thing I will need title, of course. Again, set variable to contents of URL. And I'll use this contents URL. We'll it's not all contents of URL. We need to change some stuff here. It's author. I think it's author name. Next is cover. So cover is also a JSON formatted thing. I'm gonna get a snippet and put it here. So as you see, a cover dictionary contains dictionary external. Inside we have this stuff. And it's also contents of URL. We will save set variable thumbnail to this text. So now let's change the stuff here. It will be a dictionary and it will be title. As you see here, no changes were added, so you need to double check what was added. You will see this will be changed from contents URL to title, or this is here author name. Okay, dictionary, and I'll put here author name. Great. Oh, as you see, once again, it wasn't added. To double check it. Okay, in contents of URL, again, use dictionary, and now let's specify the key. The key will be thumbnail URL. Good. So now we have the ability in the shortcut to scrape information about metadata about YouTube view. It's author name, title, and thumbnail. And once again, we will prevent this first part of conditional to generate output. Because if it's not a YouTube video, then it's an article. And if it's an article, then we will get article from the shortcut input. So I use get article using Safari Reader. This is a very cool feature, very cool action in shortcuts that allows you to natively scrape information about article, and it does it really well. So get article from shortcut input. Right. This I'll tell you why we have nothing here in a second. So we are getting article from shortcut input. Okay. We will now start assigning some new variables here. So the first one will be title. And we'll just set variable title to article title. As you see here, we have author, publish date, body, excerpt, number of words, main image, URL itself, and name. This is it. So we have set variable title to title. Good. We have no title. Now let's go further. The thing is, sometimes there is no author specified in the article. So we need to know whether or not it is here. So if choose article here, if article's author has any value, we'll do what? We'll get this author. Get article author. Otherwise, we will just make it author default by some author. Okay, just to put it otherwise right there, and it's author. Great. And we will set variable author name. Right here. Good. Now, let's move on to main image URL, which is equivalent to thumbnail URL in YouTube. This will set page cover in Notion. So it will do the same thing here for the main image URL as we did with authors. So if now we're working with publish date, and again this will be all the same. We're putting some JSON formatting here, and start will be type article and publish date, and now we need to specify the date format. So date format is every time is always ISO 8601 in Notion. We won't include the time itself. So here we are. Otherwise, we don't want to generate the output. Otherwise, nothing. So in all of these things, look, the final thing we get is publish date, and if there is value for publish date, we will have this JSON formatted text. This will represent the if result. So if like putting if result, this will be this publish date, or it will be nothing. Okay, so let's move on. So we scrape the data from the article now. The next thing we do is we will need to combine the text tags request, but we already have it done here. As you see, let's just do it once again. Combine tags request plus you can combine multiple variables. We'll use this capability, but not in this action. We will combine them with commas like that, and now we will put a full-blown request JSON. So here we are, text. I'll copy it as well to save some time, because the tutorial will take a long time, I think. So content, this will contain title variable. Good. Now for the URL, this will be the shortcut input. The author, this will contain, where's author? Didn't I create, oh, here's author name, yeah. And tags, this will be the combined text right here. Good. So we have now a request URL, a request JSON, but it's missing something. It lacks the parent database ID and cover. And it also misses publish date. So if there is publish date, we will combine this text. How do you get this plus? Is you manually put in here, and you have this plus if result, and you combine these with commas. That this way you have this text combined with publish date, and there will be publish date JSON piece. There will be this thing if publish date information exists. If there is not, it won't be included. Now we will add another JSON formatted text snippet. This one will be a bit smaller. So here we are, have database ID. Database ID, let's put it in here like that. And now the properties. So properties will be the combined text. Cool. Now we also need to combine this with cover if there exists such. So we will combine text with thumbnail. Once again with commas. Have this parent, comma, and you see here properties. And just by using this trick to combine with commas, we can like make the JSONs very flexible. That's how I call it, flexible JSON. Okay, so we will combine. Once again, we need the combined text action. You need to put it this text plus thumbnail with commas. And this thing will be really our final JSON request. The only thing we still need to add is curly brackets, of course, to just enclose this all parent properties, thumbnail, enclose this all information in curly brackets. And this will be our final request URL. Final request JSON. Finally, we did it. And there's still one thing to do is, of course, to send the request. So we get contents of URL, and the URL will be for creating a page. And this, you may already know this, it's https://api.notion.com/v1/pages. You open this up and specify the method. The method is post, another type of method we use here. So we used get in the shortcut to get information about each property, especially the options that exist in the database. We used patch to added some information, added some properties information in database. And now we're using post to send a new record to the database. Okay, so we're using 3 headers again. It's authorization. Authorization is bearer, Notion key, now Notion version, so capitalized. Notion version 1.2.06.28, and content type. Content type is application/JSON. The request body is once again file, and we are using this. So that's basically it for the shortcut. As you see, so how do you add URLs? Just if you just want to know how you add URLs, you see here we have this URL property. All it has is inside of every property is a dictionary for API. Inside we just have key, URL, and value. The URL itself is very simple, just add it as it is. And input plays a role of a URL in this case. So this is all, and hopefully the shortcut will work. Let's see how it does. Let's open Notion. Okay, there's database, and I have saved some articles here. So now let's take this one and I'll just copy URL of it. Because as you see, I use here get clipboard just to check whether or not the shortcut works. We'll run it. It asks me to send one text item. I always allow. Now we need to specify some tags. What was it about? It was Obsidian, I think. Let's double check. Okay, it's Obsidian. So I'll use what words we have. Zettel custom. So we'll use tag Zettel custom and hit done. Now once again, this will only ask for this much approval on the first run. Don't worry, it won't ask a lot of it afterwards. Always allow. Okay, and the last thing is this, always. Good. Now let's go back to Notion and see whether or not the URL was added here. Oh, and as you see here, we have a body fail validation error. Great. I love such errors. Okay, so this means the ISO 8601 date string wasn't applied, format wasn't applied. Oh, and I see here, I forgot to set a variable here. So I pre-made these snippets, but I just put in here and it's just, that's just thumbnail. This is another place I forgot to put thing in, so main image URL. Okay, and it published date. As you see, date format wasn't applied, even though we selected it. So this should be now applied, I believe. Yeah, here we have ISO 8601. Good. So let's go now and run it once again. Set up some tags, Zettel custom. Okay. Let's go to Notion, and there we are. So just to clarify, I have 5:03 p.m. I have 17:03, which is equivalent to 5:03 p.m. in 24-hour format. It's September 3. So this URL was added successfully. We have a Zettel custom tag here. We have author, publish date, created time. We can put some relations also. It's pretty cool. Okay, now let's try a YouTube video URL. Here I have a video by Matthew Diabella. Let's copy URL of this and send this to Notion too. Tags. So studying, I think it's studying or life advice. Okay, always allow. Okay, with YouTube videos, it's a bit quicker. As you see there, how Matt Diabella created on, don't have published date for YouTube videos though. It's a bit of a downside, but we have tags. We put relations, we have the thumbnail in the cover. So we can put some notes here. You're free to do whatever you want here. I have some just basic stuff. flipped the notion alongside the URL. So hopefully this tutorial was helpful to you. Hopefully you didn't have any misunderstandings. That's basically it. Hope you enjoyed it. If you really did, please hit the like button, subscribe, share with friends who also are keen to learn shortcuts. Thank you for watching and have a great one.